Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Working Horse with Jim. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about tails. This is probably a subject that a lot of people are kind of sensitive about, because people have different preferences on how they like to have their horses' tails. Now, I am not one to agree with docking tails in any shape or form, but I can still understand why people want to dock tails. To me, I like a tail that is short, and so when they dock their tails, the hair doesn't grow very long, so they have short hair all the time, and it's very little work to take care of them. But I just think the process of docking the tails is just so unnecessary. It does add a little bit more work, but there's actually a way to have a tail fairly short without too much work. But a lot of people love those long flowing tails, and they look nice. Sometimes for some horses, in my opinion, I guess I shouldn't even say I don't even like a long tail. I'm taking that back. I just don't like a long tail, and hardly ever do I like a long tail on a horse. Those tails that are right down to the floor, I just don't like them. It's as simple as that. But that's my preference. That's what I dislike long tails. I like tails that stop at their hocks. So I want to explain a couple things. Now, like I said, I do not like docked tails, and for a lot of you people that don't know what a docked tail is, I have one horse in my barn, and a lot of people, you don't even realize that, but one horse in my barn, there's Buck, there's Ken, there's Bill, and there's Lady. And of those 4 horses, one of them has a docked tail. But apparently, when they dock tails, they do it differently from time to time. Now, I'm just coming back out here after supper to water my horses, and then I'll rebed them. But I wanted to show you this tail on Buck. Go Buck. Buck has a docked tail. Well, actually, maybe I should go over to Ken's first so I can explain the difference. An average tail is, I don't know what it is, but I can feel the tailbone on Ken right there. So you can see that tailbone is kind of just below where the britchin normally would go on a horse. So as far as length, I don't know, it looks like it must be 20 inches long. Now over here on Buck, his tail is docked, and the end of his tailbone is right there. So that just makes it like 8 inches long, maybe 10 inches. But that's actually a long docked tail. Some horses will have the tails docked, I don't know, 2-3 inches long, whatever it happens to be. I don't know what it is. But since whoever docked Buck's tail, let me make it very clear, surely it wasn't I, but whoever docked his tail left it longer than most docked tails that I've seen anyways. So because of that, the hair is actually will grow longer. And maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's close to where most horses' tails are docked. I'm not even sure. But for some reason, his hair does grow longer, because a lot of times with a docked horse's tail, they just come like this long, and they'll never get any longer than that. But I like a tail that comes down to their hocks, right in this area here. So what I do every March, this part of the country, March is kind of the starting point of the mud season. So we get a lot of mud from March to April time. And throughout the course of a year, their tails grow a lot. And so by March, for example, Ken right here, he has a big long tail. Last March, I cut it off right at the hock. And it's already down quite a ways. And by spring, it'll be down even farther. So if I don't cut that off, it's just going to get into mud, and just, to me, be more of a nuisance, harder to put through the britchin. And so I like those short tails. But anyways, I just do it once a year, and it's at March. But what I want to do tonight, is something that I know a lot of people are going to cry about, and that's okay, because everybody has his own preference on how to do things. But I'm sick and tired of these long tails on these colts. As they lay down in the night, and you can see that Duke just peed and got the floor all wet. Just the fact of life. How are you going to fix that? I can't be here all night long and scrape that down and put fresh bedding down. So by morning, it's going to be wet in here. And he'll have laid down and got this tail into this manure, and it's just going to be, it just gets worse and worse. They go outside every day, generally, but still, that time during the night, they'll get all dirty. So what I'm going to do is clip those tails even right now. I feel that if I clip them right now for these two guys, by spring, they'll have grown out quite a lot, and then they'll go out to pasture, and that's the purpose of the tail, to swat flies. And they won't be worked this summer. They'll just be on pasture. So I want them to have a semi-long tail for protection from the flies. So if I waited till March, they're going to be out all summer with a shorter tail. Whereas if I cut them now, they'll have a shorter tail now when they're in the barn at night, and then come spring, their tails will be long and they'll be ready to go out to pasture. Anyways, I'm going to see about clipping their tails. Now this morning, I came out and started the clippers up and just kind of got them to see what would happen, and they seem to be perfectly fine. So I got big hopes that they'll allow me to clip the tails without any problems at all. I also was able to work. Brenda helped me. We did their. Earl had his third lesson today, and Duke had his second lesson today in driving. Tomorrow, I want to drive them again, and I want to show you the progress that they've made in these short few lessons. But for right now, let's get these tails clipped. So my clippers are starting to get a little bit dull, so it's a good time to clip these tails because their tails are dirty. Duke's is really dirty. Earl's is not quite so bad. So since they're going to get a little even duller from that, before I go and clip their manes on the horses, not these guys, but the bigger horses, I will get these sharpened or put another set in here. So let's see what we can do. I'm just going to make sure they're okay with it to start with. Like I said, they were good this morning when I did it. So let's see what happens. So we're not having a beauty contest in any shape or form, but I want to just get that tail shorter. But I am a little particular on how I do my tails. I don't like to just make a straight cut right across here. I want to have it kind of feathered down a little bit. So what I do is I will just kind of work my way down like this. So I got short pieces here, right on down through, and trying to make it so it's kind of comes to a point, but not a point, not really sharp point. That tail is perfectly fine for my liking. Stopping about the hocks, a little bit above the hocks. And here's all the hair that came off of him. Okay. Quite a wad of hair. So I'll go see if Duke is as good as Earl. I tell you, you can't ask for anything better than how well Earl did to let me do that. Get up there, Duke. Get up. So let's see how Duke does. There. That pleases me greatly. I was talking to somebody the other day. I can't even remember what we're talking about. But to look at it with tails and horses, you know, every one of us has a different preference as to how we like to see our animals. Some like short tails like this. Some like dock tails, and their tails are really like that. But some like those long flowing tails that drag on the ground. Some like long manes, like I have on these colts. Some people like roached manes, like I have on my big horses. But you know, what a dull place this life would be if everybody had exactly the same thing on every single one of their horses, or if every one of us wore exactly the same clothes, and if every one of us drove exactly the same kind of cars. You know, it's so nice to have variety. It's so nice that everybody has their own preferences as how they like to see things. It just makes life so much more enjoyable when we have such a variety of things going on. So anyways, that's going to be it for tonight. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll show you the progress that we're making on these two colts as they drive around the driveway. Have a good night. Good morning, everybody. Well, we're ready to take the colts out and do another couple more lessons. So as I said yesterday, we're going to use Earl first, and this will be his fourth time. Once we went around with Trudy, she was here, his very first lesson, and then Brenda's been helping me ever since then, and we did 2 of the lessons with him, and Brenda's helped on him all the way through, and this will be his 3rd lesson. So there's that lead rope. Yeah, there we go. All right, back up, back up, back up, back. Back. Not a lot of room for these guys. They're getting bigger and bigger. Come on, Duke. Earl, I mean. Come on. Okay. Test that. My line's a little long. Okay. And we're off. So what we've been doing, every time we go around the driveway, I think 3 times, 3 or 4, and that's all they do. But Earl has been improving quite a bit. As a matter of fact, we'll do what we did yesterday. Brenda, back up a little bit and unsnap that line. Cuffs up. So now the line is completely unhitched and he's going on its own, although something new here with Abby and the camera lady. But he is doing great. Abby, stay out of his vision. Perfect, right there. And Brenda, go ahead a little bit farther. So this is what we started with doing with Earl yesterday. Oh. Come right up and hold his head. Pat him a little bit till this car goes by. You sure there's a car coming?
I can hear him.
Yes. Well, I don't see him. Go ahead. Cup stop. So we started this yesterday, and a lot of times what I would do when I'm training these colts is I'll have whoever's leading fall backwards, come behind him. But this time we've tried something even a little bit different. We're actually unhitching the rope and walking ahead a little farther. Cup stop. Cup stop. Oh, come back, Brenda. We're starting a little too soon. Cup stop. Calf stop. Come on, step. Step up there. So we'll walk just a little ways, get around the corner, and then we'll unhitch the rope again and go short stretch without being tied. Oh, practicing a little bit of stops and goes. It cups up. There's one thing about colts. They have a good day, you expect to turn around, come right down to the next day and have a great day, or even better. And it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes there's absolutely no improvement. Sometimes they really go backwards and they're not good at all. So you just never can tell. What we're going to do now is we go out to the blacktop, and then we're going to turn around and go around the driveway the opposite way, so they don't get into a habit of going exactly the same way. Okay, Brenda, turn to your left. Okay, Brenda, unhitch that rope. Keep step. Walk a little further. I hope to get him around this corner, but I might not, and that's okay. Brenda can grab him if need be, but stay ahead, Brenda. A little more distance, Brenda. Oh. 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 Good boy. Oh. I cuffs up. Sometimes when he stops, you can kind of try to coax him on, tap him lightly with the lines. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. As you can see there, Brenda was kind of headed back just in case, because we don't want it. He's got to react pretty fast, or I'm going to put that rope right back on him. But I also like it when he does react on his own and goes. I can tell when he's going to cause trouble, like right there. He kind of put his head down. He was going to try to paw, even right now. But that's pretty normal. So we'll try to get around the driveway one more time, hopefully without Brenda leading. Ho, ho, good boy. Ho, ho, ho. Come back, Brenda. Ho, 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 ho. Good boy. Ho. Okay, go. Cap step. Okay, as you can see, and it wasn't a surprise, I stopped him and he wanted to turn around and head to the barn. And so instead of fighting him at this stage, I told Brenda to put the rope right on. So this is going to be his last time around. So Brenda, unhitch him again, and we'll see if we can't. Cap stop. See if we can't get around the driveway without the lead rope. Get a little distance, Brenda. The further Brenda gets away from him, the more he knows he's doing it on his own, and the better that is. Now, if this was done in a nice contained barnyard or even in a building, come on, that would be safer and better yet. But This is doing mighty good. He's doing really good just like this. So we'll head right back to the barn. I may stop once or twice. Oh. 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 Calf step. Calf step. Calf step. This is not the time to try to make the horse stand perfectly for a long period of time. So as you see, I just stopped him for just a second and asked him to continue right on. So for his 4th lesson, I can't expect anything more than that. I'll stop him one more time. We gotta be careful because the driveway's a little slippery. Oh, oh, oh. Calf step. Good boy, careful. What do you think, Abby? Oh.
Is there a particular reason why you drive them on the side?
Yes, several reasons. There's several reasons for driving them on the side. For one, you don't want to get kicked, so you're less apt to get kicked when you're off to the side. 2, you've got 2 people involved, so it's best to have both people on the same side. So whoever's leading will stay on the same side I am. It is important though to swap sides and put the lines on the other side of him so he gets used to that also. Brenda, there it goes. But yeah, it's good to drive on the side. So I'll put him in, I'll grab Duke and we'll go again. Come on. Come on, bring me that bridle.
Outside, make sure bridle.
Well, they don't have to, but it just makes it easier. Get up. Get up. That'll be good. Come on, guy.
Look like a scud muffin. He's gonna need
I'm gonna be glad when I cut that.
man bun, man. Maybe a tuck under.
Maybe a clip.
I think you could have like a little bump. A little bump. Yeah. So handsome. That's the camera. These horses are not camera shy. They are not.
Okay, where are you guys down through dubbing? All right, cuffs up. Come on, step. So as of so far, I would say Earl is just a little bit ahead of him in his training, although he's got one more time ahead of him too. This is only his 3rd time to even be out here. So considering that, he's doing great. After we go around our 2 or 3 times, or during our 2 or 3 times of going around, I'm hoping to get a little stretch of Brenda not having her hitch rope not hitched to Duke. Oh. Oh. Cuffs up. I like it when I ask him to go and Brenda doesn't have to put any pressure at all on her lead line. and he's just going from my command, which he did just then. Next time I ask him, it may not be that way, but it was there, which is good. Over the last few days, it's always been on the blacktop where we have had, so far anyways, the most issues, and it's been very minor issues. Oh. Oh. Cuffs up. Cuffs up. Can you get a closer up of his collar? I like the other collar that I have for these guys a lot better than this one here. But like I said, have said before, he's not actually doing any working, so it really doesn't matter. But this is the first time we've actually used this harness while we're teaching him to lead. So Brenda will get to the end of the driveway and turn around and go the opposite way. Of course, as you can imagine, the reason why we're doing this is get him used to going both ways. Okay, start swinging to your left. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on the left bit. Come on, step. Misstep. Trying to come back kind of fast and unsnap him. We're just going to go a little ways probably and tie the rope back on, but he's doing it. Okay, Brandon, come back. So here, he swung around this corner perfectly, but then he started to spin his head and turn back to the barn just like Earl did, so I'm just not going to take a chance. Ho, ho, ho. I cuffed up. So now we'll get to the other driveway again. We'll unsnap that rope and see if we can't walk him all the way to the barn like this. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the next few months I'm not going to have a lot of time to drive these horses, and I was glad to get this 4 or 5 day stretch in that we could work them kind of consistently. So we've had great first lessons, but I've got to start logging next week, and so I'm probably not going to have a lot of time to do it. Okay, Brandon, unsnap that rope. Get a little distance out of me. Come on. As you can hear, as I'm going along, I can tell when he's going to start slowing down or causing trouble. So I'm always ready to give him a little clucking noise or kissing noise, whatever you want to call it. Missed that. Oh. Okay, Brenda, come back. We don't want to push our luck. He's doing awful good. So we'll just get probably up my truck and we'll pull it again. Keep step. And see if he'll walk back to the barn without Brenda's help. In this process, I'm always asking whoever's leading to get as far ahead as possible without putting any pressure on the lead rope. Okay, Brenda, come back and unsnap. Whoever you have leading has to really know what you want and listen carefully, because it's important to do, especially these first lessons. You want them done right, done good, so they don't get into trouble. Oh, oh, oh. Cup step. Sometimes you have to use the barn to your advantage too. If they're headed home, you can kind of try more things because they're going to start and go better because they're headed to the barn. Oh. Oh. Good boy.
Thanks for coming along with us today. I hope you enjoyed this little training session with Duke and Earl. I think they did super great, don't you?
Absolutely.
Very proud,
Yep,
very proud.
very good.
Have a great day. Oh, look. Cute.
That is just,
Hey,
thanks.
give me the lead rope, please.
How did that even happen?
We have important things to talk about. I don't think it's really serious.
You girls and his mane.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's put them away. Bye, guys.